She is currently spearheading several major infrastructure, housing, and community safety initiatives in Hamilton. Welcome my next guest representing Hamilton's Ward 3, Councillor Nrinder Nann.
Hi, Linda.
So good to have you here.
I'm so glad to be here.
So Ward 3,
yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah.
And I say that from people who, don't necessarily know the breakdown of the wards in the Hamilton area.
Yeah, so it's the ward just east of downtown. So from Wellington Street all the way over to Ottawa Street, and then of course from the escarpment down to the waterfront.
Yeah, so lots going on in that sector.
Tons going on.
Tons going on, and of course a big supporter of LRT. And I wanted to start there because some people are like, are we still getting an LRT? Is anything happening with that? Like a lot of questions around it.
Yeah.
So first, where are things at with LRT in Hamilton?
Yeah, so we're already underway. We've got a lot of early works projects that are wrapping up this summer. So Wilson Street, for those who live in that neighborhood, have been enduring a massive reconstruction project, which from a city infrastructure perspective, it's a chance to upgrade all of our century-old water mains down there. But from a community perspective, we get to renovate the road and really make it a complete street with benches and trees and two-waying it, which is really important for that bi-directional movement that we need to deliver as a city before the LRT gets built, so that people can move around the city and goods can travel as well. So in terms of the project, it's full steam ahead, pun intended, with the train reference and all. And right now, Metrolinx is in the process of finalizing design, and the city will get a report in terms of when it's going to go to tender, and then we'll get the details to be able to share with the community.
So we hear kind of, some good positive rumblings about it, some not so good, like it depends on who you are, what your perspective is. But I want to ask you, why is an LRT system in Hamilton a good idea?
Well, number one, it's giving us a chance to deal with century-old infrastructure that has reached end of life. The number of water main breaks alone isn't something that the city is able to finance on our own, so this project does give us the capacity to do that. But as a higher order transit, what it enables for the city is to really revitalize the entire 14-kilometer corridor in our city. When you have higher order transit, what usually comes with that is investment, an investment into storefronts, investment into housing. It gives us a chance to rebuild the downtown core and rebuild that entire corridor to be what I call an artery of possibility for our city. There's a lot of derelict buildings along that corridor in certain areas. We haven't had sustained investment in certain neighborhoods. And so these kind of projects do that, but more importantly, they help people move through our city. It's fundamentally a transit project. And with having McMaster on one side and then Centennial on the other, it really does help our residents move across the city in a way that is predictable, doesn't rely on a vehicle. And these days we all know that saving money on transportation really matters to every household. And so being able to take an affordable transit system is a really important step.
You talked a little bit there about the roads. So can we talk about the condition of our roads and what's going to be happening? Because this is good news. A lot of people are, talking about the craters that are popping up in and around different neighborhoods. So what's happening with what the city's doing?
I'm deeming it the summer of roads.
Yes,
so,
fair enough.
For Ward 3 residents particularly, we've got the Wilson Street construction. We've finished Sherman, two-waying. We have the intersection of Ottawa and Main being redone with a major water main work there. We've got the two-waying of Main Street all the way from Dundurn, all the way through to Ward 3. That's taking place this year as well.
So that's a good idea?
It's an incredibly important good idea, but let me come back to that.
Okay,
let me come back to that.
All right.
Because you asked me about potholes in the state of our roads. So the city embarked on a pretty robust asset management assessment. So basically looked at every single roadway in the entire city and marked it in terms of condition. Poor, very poor, okay, good, etc. So the roads that are being prioritized right now are those that have been slated as very poor and poor. So Barton Street, with the horrible reputation and classification as one of the worst roads in terms of surface conditions across Ontario, is being repaved this summer. So from, I think in Councillor Huang's ward and on Kenilworth, from Kenilworth all the way through to Emerald is getting resurfaced.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's really important. And then that is because the reconstruction project, which is to replace all the water mains and do all of the reconstruction of the road, that has had to be bumped out until 2030. So we cannot sustain keeping the road in the condition that it's in right now. It's a liability, it's a risk, people are being injured, it's inappropriate. So this summer it's finally getting repaved. Yeah.
Good. Good. Now, I did talk about the
Main
two,
Street?
yeah, with what's happening on Main Street, but I don't want to run out of other things. So just
No worries.
quickly, your perspective on that being a good thing, because I do actually question. I love our one way in and our one way out. So you tell me why it's a good idea.
You also just mentioned how valuable the LRT is going to be.
Yes, that's
and
true.
So in order for the LRT to really work, we need to make sure that our road system is redesigned in a way to flow people east and west. And we got to support people being able to travel with the choice that they want. And so two-way main is essential for that.
Yeah, I like that. So thanks for that. Housing and community welfare, big important piece of what's going on in our community. We're all talking about affordable housing. We're talking about, you know, how to help people, because when that's working, then it's better for the city and all of us living within the city.
Yeah. So we've, in Ward 3 alone, 280 new not-for-profit affordable housing units were built since 2018 and now occupied. We have another 305 affordable housing units that have been approved by council in Ward 3 alone that should be built, shovels in the ground starting this year. So between this year and 2028, those will all come online as well. And as president of City Housing Hamilton, we tackled the backlog of all the repair units that were sitting vacant. And in 18 months, we repaired nearly 500 units. 135 of those were in Ward 3, all fixed, all reoccupied, and we've taken our vacancy rate from being nearly 9% down to 2%. So it's about system changes. It's about investment. I know a lot of people worry about our tax dollars increasing, but at the same time, we're facing such critical issues. It's imperative for us as a municipality to invest in them, especially for us to make the case to the province and the feds to unlock their money as well, which actually triples the capacity of what we're capable of doing here in Hamilton.
So are you seeing a positive shift then, you think, in our housing situation?
I am. Yeah, I think we're delivering not-for-profit affordable housing at a rate that's never been seen in the city. And importantly, also working in a way that allows the private sector to develop more affordably as well.
One last thing that we can have time to talk about is the anti-hate initiatives, because I think this is so important for the health of the community, and you've got a new community resource coming out.
Yeah, so on my personal website, nrinder.ca, we have a new section called Anti-Hate, but we've been working in collaboration with the Anti-Racism Resource Center here in Hamilton. And fundamentally, at the end of the day, with the hate groups that were popping up with fight clubs in Ward 3, we had to step things up. And part of what our neighbors were asking for is, can you help us understand what's actually happening? So there's a good description of what that activity is. Unfortunately, these aren't just like groups of ill-minded people. These are bona fide hate organizations that are classified under the federal government's extremist groups. And they're present here in Hamilton. And I think it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is, we've had a hate problem in the city for generations. And so the city is also doing an iterative approach to increase what our capacity needs to be as a city to respond to this, but to make sure that our parks remain safe, viable places for our neighborhoods and for our residents. The other piece that came up for Ward 3 residents is like, hate symbols seem to have changed, right? It's no longer just the swastika that's being painted on people's homes or on their private businesses or in our parks. We're seeing different kind of insignia that is associated with extremist thought that believes that this city should be only occupied by white residents. And so to help decode some of that, those resources are now available online, so residents know what to look for.
Yeah, which I think is
in order
really,
to report it.
Exactly.
In order for us to deal with it.
Yeah, and that whole community piece comes in. That's so important. We have to respond as community members as well and be aware. So this resource is really great that you're doing it. We could just talk an entire segment on what's happening from a city perspective when it comes to those hate crimes, and it's just really sad that we have it here in Hamilton, but it's everywhere. So
it is everywhere.
But we can work towards a change. Nrinder, thank you so much. It was really great to meet you. It was nice having you on, and I know we'll be seeing you again.